Then we'll go on to heat and food. What we're talking about is heat transfer. So you've got some type of heat source, whether it's a stove, a burner, a microwave, a grill, and then that heat transfers from that flame to the pot. So the main types of heat transfer are conduction, convection, radiation. Heat is transferred in three different ways: conduction, convection, and radiation. And induction is another form of radiation, but you're starting to see more induction burners. Conduction is when heat moves directly from one item to something else. So you've got the heat source, it heats the pan heats. So the heat is just moving, conducting from one item to the other. Convection is when it's heat is spread through movement of air, steam, or liquid, including fat. There's two types of convection: when the hot liquids and gases are rising while the cooler ones sink, or you can have mechanical, like there's convection ovens or steamers, or if have a spoon and you're stirring a pot. Your radiation occurs when energy is transferred by waves from a source to the food. So, first one you think of is sun. You've got the radiation waves, and then and or a grill too is another form of radiation, the heat energy from the charcoal. So you've got natural convection, where as it's heated here, the hot water will rise, or hot liquid will rise, mixed with the cold. And then you've got mechanical convection, where you've got the fan blowing air around, or like I said, with a pot and a spoon, you're physically stirring the pot. You've got infrared and microwave for radiation. Again, a grill is infrared radiation. Microwave is the other source. And again, it's high frequency waves, and it's penetrating the food, and it's actually making the water molecules turn around, and it's creating friction. So the water molecule is turning around. It's like 10 or 15,000 times a second, and as that water molecule moves around, it's creating friction and heat, and then that heats. And that's why you get kind of uneven heating, because different parts of the food can have more water than other parts. And that's why it's always good to stir food as you're microwaving it, to distribute the heat and the water. Doneness and cooking times: we say a food is done when two things have happened: the interior temperature has risen to the desired degree, and desired changes have taken place in the food. So the time it takes to achieve is affected by three factors: how hot, the speed of heat transfer, and the size, temperature, and individual characteristics of the food all impact cooking times. So obviously, the higher you've got a temperature or the heat, it's going to cook faster. What are you cooking? Some items cook faster than others. The fat around the roast will prevent the heat from entering quite as fast, and it'll take a little bit longer to heat through. How to boil water. Why does covering the pot help? Correct, because it traps the steam. And again, the steam has a lot of heat energy, and otherwise it just goes up and out your exhaust hood. If you put a cover on it, it traps that heat, and it'll heat your water quicker. Reasons to uncover: if you want evaporation or reduction, to visually monitor the cooking, or in cooking green vegetables. This is something that people don't realize: is when you're cooking asparagus or other things, the vegetables actually release an acid, and that acid will get carried away in the steam, but if you cover it, that acid stays in the water, and your nice brilliant green asparagus and spinach turns to that dull army gray green color. And that's again overcooking, and also the acid. Water boils at what temperature? Correct, 212. Does turning up the heat affect the temperature once it's boiling? No. Again, water can only go to 212. After that, it turns into steam. Heat is transferred to the center of food by conduction. Conduction is a little bit slower. Smaller pieces cook more evenly than larger ones. It's helpful if you pull meats out and let them come up to almost room temperature before you cook them. Again, you don't want to leave something out for hours, but sometimes, just a half hour will help. And sometimes you cook and then brown items, or other times you'll brown them first and then cook. Like when you're braising something, a lot of times you brown it first and then put it in the oven, finish cooking. Sometimes with sous vide cooking, you'll cook it first and then brown it second. And I put this book in here. This is the other book that you could be using for this class, but it's a little bit more sciencey, on food and cooking by Harold McGee. And then again, here's a link, thecuriouscook.com. Again, if you go into this PowerPoint, all these links are active and you can use it. The one thing I wanted to mention from his book is he goes through the different types of utensils. Materials, are more transfer heat better than others. Aluminum transfers better than stainless steel, but stainless steel is better for, you know, not absorbing flavors, or if you ever cook a bechamel in an aluminum pot, it might actually turn gray. Copper is the best conductor of heat, but copper is actually toxic. So it's if you have a copper pot, it should also be lined with stainless steel. Again, sometimes just the pan you use can affect how fast something cooks because, like I said, aluminum transfers heat a lot better than stainless steel, but stainless steel is much better at not reacting with foods. And a lot of the good cookware will be maybe thick aluminum on the outside and then lined with stainless steel on the inside for easy cleanup, and it doesn't react with the food. Just don't burn yourself. Anyway, so that's the video. Hopefully, if you have any suggestions or questions about this module, just shoot me an email.